Hi, today is a flexibility practice, and today we're going to focus on the hamstrings, the hips, and the lower back. If you have blocks, one or two, it could be helpful today to have them close by. We're going to start laying down, just some kind of movements to get us prepped and ready to really find some space in those places today. So let's start with the hips right away. We're going to lift the right knee up right above the hip, and you could imagine that you're hugging a small squishy ball behind your right knee. And we're going to start to circle. And so we want the movement to come from the hip rather than the knee. And that's why we've got that imaginary ball there. So we're not changing the shape of the knee. We're circling that femur bone around the pelvis. And it might even be helpful here to place your left hand on the other side of the pelvis just to try to be pretty steady through the pelvis. Let the movement really occur right there at that hip joint. Good, and then we'll come back around the other way a few times. You can anchor down beneath the left foot. Try to stabilize the rest of the body as much as you can. Good, let's just stretch that right leg up for a moment. First little hamstring stretch of the morning, or the afternoon, or the evening, depending on what time of day you're doing this. Good, and then we'll drop down. And then left knee will lift up again. Hug that imaginary ball behind the left knee. Maybe help anchor with the right hand over on that right hip. And then just start to circle around. As always, the size and the speed of the circle is up to you. We're just bringing some awareness to the hip joint, that ball and socket joint. There's a lot of movement available to us here. A big range of motion. Let's go ahead and reverse the direction a few times. We're tuning into our breath here as we're really linking into our body, in particular our left hip right now. And then let's feel the left hamstrings as we straighten that left leg up towards the ceiling. Good. Now let's go ahead and bring the right leg up to meet the left. And we're going to start to just slowly scissor the legs here. So a little bit more hamstring stretch, a little bit more awareness there to the back of your upper thigh. We're also having to work a little bit here through the core to anchor the spine so the belly is engaged. We can press the arms down by our sides. The scissor doesn't have to be really big. See if you can find a soothing breath rhythm. We'll go just a little bit longer with this. Good. Now we're going to circle again from the hips, but let's do it with nice long legs, and we're going to circle both legs together. So you kind of circle them out away from each other and then back together again. You can always bend your knees here if that's helpful. Good. Now let's just go back around the other way a few times. Nice. Now when we drop the feet down, bring them nice and close to the body. So we're setting up like we're going to go into bridge pose. But instead of going all the way up into bridge today, what we're going to do is just do some pelvic tilts. So you're going to press the lower back down and kind of peel up like you're going to lift in bridge, but then change your mind and then see if you can tilt the pelvis the other way a little bit. So really pull the tail down and then tuck the tail up and then pull it down. So just do that a few times, kind of some exaggerated pelvic tilts here. So we're kind of bringing a little bit of awareness down to the lower back and the gluteal muscles. And again, all around the pelvis. So right now we're just tilting up and down, but then we're going to try the tilt side to side. So it's kind of like if we were going to go into our windshield wiper knees. So you can sway the knees side to side a little bit, but just feel yourself kind of rocking side to side on the back of your pelvis. So a little bit of a lower back massage here, a little bit of movement there. Try to make it feel good. Yeah, we're just loosening up through the body a little bit. We're increasing some energy and bringing a little bit of warmth and definitely a lot more awareness to our bodies. Let's go up and down a few more times, just your pelvic tilt. So come back to that original movement. See how it feels. Try to make it feel good. And then one more time, let's get that little side to side sway here. It doesn't have to be as big as your normal windshield wipers. We're just really focusing on that lower back and the back of the pelvis and the sacrum. Good. Now let's come and hug the knees to the chest. We'll curl up into a tight ball here. A nice another stretch for the low back. And then let's go ahead and rock up, and we're going to come to a standing forward fold next. So go ahead and make your way there. And if you're having blocks today, if you're using blocks today, they could be out in front of you, one or two. Either way will work. We're going to flow with the forward fold a little bit, so we're going to put a couple different movements together. So the first one will be our half fold. So you could use blocks if you have them. You're going to climb up halfway, take a nice long inhale breath. And then with the exhale, we're going to drape right back down into a full fold. Tuck the chin. Then the next movement is a forward fold squat. So you're going to bend the knees as much as it's comfortable for you. Kind of rest your ribs on your thighs. And then exhale, straighten again and drop the head again. Traditional forward fold. So let's flow those two. Inhale, we'll climb up for the half fold. Exhale, we'll drape down over the legs. Inhale, we'll bend the knees, forward fold squat, get deep, and then exhale, straighten and tuck the chin again. Good. Inhale, we climb up, we lift the belly, we lengthen the spine. Exhale, we release and drape down over the legs. Inhale, bend as much as it feels good for you, and then exhale and straighten. Let's go one more time here. Inhale, lots of love for the hamstrings. Exhale, lots of love for the lower back. One more time, bend the knees and straighten. We'll just hold the fold this time. Let out a nice deeper exhale breath here. Good. Now we're going to be stepping back into a lunge. So again, blocks could be helpful here. We'll step the left foot back all the way back towards the back of the mat. And for a few times, we're just going to work between this runner's lunge and a kneeling lunge. So we'll drop the back knee, but then we change our mind and we come right back up. So we're going to do just a few more of these knee taps, coming in and out of that kneeling lunge. Good. One more here. This time we're dropping down into the kneeling lunge and we're going to stay. So maybe you're letting those back toes go. I'm going to move the blocks back just a little bit because we're now going to shift from kneeling lunge back into kneeling pyramid. And we're going to flow that a few times. So inhale back up to the kneeling lunge. Exhale, shift back into the kneeling pyramid. Good. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. It's a little rocking horse motion here. One more time forward. This time as we come back, we can hold this one. Settle into it. You can keep your front toes down or you can lift them up if that feels good for you. Just kind of play around with what your body is craving today. Good. Then we'll shift back again, back into the kneeling lunge where you could keep support on the ground or the blocks. You could climb up onto the knee, or you can even reach up, expressing it a little bit more with nice big arms up top. Let's take a breath in. Exhale. We'll come back down. Let's step back up to the top of the mat. So another forward fold here. Exhale into it, and let's come to standing just for a moment. So we'll reverse the swan dive, reaching up to the rooftop, extended mountain, landing at the heart, mountain pose, prayer hands. Good. As we inhale, let's take that left hand, just catch and hold the right wrist, and then just pull it over the body for a side bend, a little outer hip love here. Welcome some easiness around the shoulders and within the face. We'll get the other side, so just switching, right hand grabs the left wrist. We pull over the body. Let's inhale, center, exhale. Let's move prayer hands down the midline of the body through the forward fold, because we're going to go ahead and step the right foot back now to the back of the mat. And let's work a few times between the runner's lunge and the kneeling lunge. So we'll drop and we will lift. You can find your own little breath rhythm. Good. Let's go up and down one more time, and then we'll hold it down. Establish the kneeling lunge, and then let's just move the blocks back a little bit if you're using them, and shift back now. Kneeling pyramid. We'll flow it a few times back and forth. Inhale to shift forward, welcome space in the inner hip. Exhale, shift back, and welcome space through the hamstrings. Rocking horse here, forward and back. We'll go up one more time. And then we'll stay back this time. Settle in, take a few breaths here. Enjoy the pose, kneeling pyramid. And then let's shift forward. We'll take a few breaths in the kneeling lunge, expressing it however you are craving to right now in this moment. It doesn't have to look the same every single time you do it. Nice breath in here. And then as we exhale, we'll come down. This time we're going to step back into downward facing dog, keeping in mind that child's pose is always also there for us, or puppy dog, our in between. How do the backs of the legs feel here? How do you feel around your hips? How do you feel through your back? How do you feel throughout all of your body, your hands, your feet, your head, your heart? Let's come forward into a plank pose, and then let's lower all the way down. A little back bend here, some spinal flexibility. We'll arch back, baby cobra. Let's go back to child's pose together now, and just take a few nice, easy breaths there. We're going to work with our pigeon pose next. So you can come into the traditional variation by way of a downward facing dog if you would like. We are going to be doing some movement in our pigeon. So you do have another option. If the traditional variation doesn't work for your body, then you can always flip it onto the back. So if you're coming into the traditional variation, let's take right knee to right wrist, right foot towards left wrist. Active foot up top, long back leg, maybe a block slid underneath the right hip to prop you up a bit. We're going to stay upright for a little bit, okay? And we are going to add some movement. If this doesn't work, just go ahead and flip it onto your back and take it down, a cross-leg shape. And when we move, you can do toe taps, okay? That will be your option for the movement. Now, if you're in that traditional variation, we are going to do pigeon push-ups. So we have kind of wide tinted fingertips here as we lift the heart, deep breath in. As we exhale, we're going to lower down as if we're just going to kiss our mat or tap our forehead down, and then we'll just come back up again. So let's do that a few times, sinking down towards the ground, and then lifting back up, really feeling the lift in the heart and the stretch through the belly. Let's go twice more. Now from here, we will settle in for just a little while, a few rounds of breath, so you can stay upright or you can come down or somewhere in between perhaps. Maybe use the forearms to support you. If you have a block, you could always prop it under your head if you'd like. So go ahead and find your pigeon spot and we'll settle in and spend just a little bit of time here. Good. Let's go ahead and come back up to that long torso position. And we're going to come back into either down dog or child's pose. So you can choose. When you get there, take a few breaths, maybe a little bit of movement. A whole lot of mindfulness here as we tune into what we are experiencing right here in this moment on our mat within our body. Now we can move forward to our plank pose again with a strong in-breath, and we can lower halfway or all the way and then take our back bend again, so low cobra or higher upward facing dog, and then pull back again as we exhale. So other side, so left knee forward if you're taking that traditional variation, and then feel free to flip it onto the back if that is better for your body today. So take a moment to find your spot, prop yourself up however it may be best for your body today. Let's go a little wider with the hands, kind of support yourself with the fingertips. We'll take an inhale breath here. As we exhale, let's lower it down and we'll flow that. So we're just kind of exploring some different angles, some different positions here of our pigeon expression. Let's come up one more time. And then you can find where you want to be for the next few moments and the next few rounds of breath. Good, let's go ahead and come up and out of this one. And we'll meet up in our down dog or child's pose. Take a breath or two there. An opportunity to tune in. And we have one more opportunity here to flow through the yoga vinyasa. Good, let's go ahead and drop to the knees. And we'll swing the legs around. We're going to come into a butterfly shape, so soles of feet together, and we'll slide our hips nice and close to our heels. We'll hold on to the feet and let the knees get heavy here while the spine gets extra long. And let's just stay upright here for a few moments, feeling the inner hips and the inner thighs, and a nice anchoring beneath our seat, so heavy under both sitting bones. Nice and light up through the crown of the head. Easy around the shoulders and deep with the breath. So we're sitting upright right now, and this may be plenty for you. We can move just a little bit more here, but we're going to be mindful to keep the spine just as long as it is right now, and the movement is going to come from the hips. So with your next exhale breath, you may want to pull forward just a little bit with a hinge from the hips rather than a rounding of the spine. So it might only be an inch or two that you're leaning forward. Good. Let's come back upright. Now we're just going to slide the legs further away. It's more of a diamond shape now. We'll lift the arms, deep breath in, and as we exhale, we will drape forward. Now we are rounding the spine, and we can walk our fingertips out, reach way out, almost like we're reaching into a child's pose, and then dropping the head maybe close to the feet, right between the arms. Noticing the space around the lower back and around the gluteal muscles in the outer hips now. Let's take one more big full breath here. Nice deep breath out. Good, and then we're going to walk ourselves back up. Let's draw the knees together and we're going to go ahead and lower down onto our backs. We'll straighten the legs up towards the ceiling. Let's reach the arms back behind us. And we're going to curl up and reach towards the feet. It's like if we were going to do a seated forward fold. We've just rolled it onto our back. Take a nice deep breath in here, and as we exhale, we'll drop down into happy baby. So the knees go wide. We take the outer edges of the feet or the ankles, and we pull down so that we can anchor the spine deep against the mat. And then as we let that go, could feel good to take some of those windshield wipers again, this time maybe making them a little bigger and just really rolling through the back of the pelvis, around the lower back and around the hips. And then as you come back to a still spot, find a place that feels really comfortable. And let's take a few moments here just to breathe and be with the body and notice the effect of our work and the time that we spent on the mat. Stay here as long as you can. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.